Hi there, welcome to Games Lounge. This is episode 10. I'm here with Kirk and Chris, and this week we're going to be going over our post-E3 impressions, what we thought of the big reveals from the main companies, what we liked and what we didn't like, and we'll get your feedback afterwards.
Games Lounge.
We'll start off, we'll go in the order of the conferences for the big three main companies themselves. So it was Microsoft was first, that was on the 15th, on the Tuesday. And did you both watch that one? Did you watch the Xbox conference?
Yeah.
I watched the highlights of it, but I didn't watch the entire.
That's actually the only one. No, I watched part of that live, about half of it, and then decided just to watch the recorded version.
Yeah.
And Nintendo was the only one I watched all the way through live. But anyway, yeah, I watched it.
So one of the things I announced wasn't really game-wise, it was the Xbox One Elite controller. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I was actually quite impressed with that.
$150 though.
It's way too expensive, but there's some cool features I like about it. I like the fact that you can lock off the trigger buttons.
Mm-hmm.
So you just take away the analog and it's just digital. I think that'd be quite good for a lot of games. See, what I've thought with virtually every modern controller, because it's got two sets of triggers or bumpers together, you usually, rather than holding it like your two fingers like that, you usually rock your fingers. I think most people would do that.
Mm-hmm.
And what I've noticed is it's quite an uncomfortable angle to actually go up to the higher bumper buttons. But if you can now lock off these triggers and basically make them bumpers, I mean, or shoulder buttons basically, then I think that's quite good because you can use that for beat 'em ups and stuff like that, and where you want an instant click.
I think in that position as well, your hands naturally rest on the grips.
Well, this is the grip ones are quite cool as well.
Paddles.
But I've had an idea for a long time where I think it would be cool if everyone keeps putting it as like a sort of, if this is the grip and you're holding it, these little, that's the actual bumper things I guess you would call them, wouldn't you? You have to use your sort of like side of your finger to push them into the side, and I think it would be better if someone made it like a brake grip, so you actually just hold it naturally and just pull it like that. But no one's ever thought of that yet.
Like one of these squidgy toys.
Apart from me.
Chris, yourself, did you see that, the controller?
Yeah, I've seen it, yeah. It seems like a lot of money for what it is, but it's Microsoft, so...
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like $150 in the US, probably going to be $100 here, maybe even more expensive, I don't know. And I think when you start going into that territory, especially when the console's coming down in price, when you're spending £100 on a controller, unless you are really hardcore into your games, it's just this kind of, like I presume
it's crazy.
Yeah, I think that's what they're targeting, is the hardcore gamers, and you maybe sell like a million or two of them, but that's going to be probably a push.
But the thing is, I think it really is one of the best traditional and like sort of first party controllers. I don't know why I'm doing that, it's first party. I was just doing the triggers. It's one of the best like first party controllers I think has ever been made at this point. Because with those little tweaks, the only thing I ever thought was an issue was reaching those bumpers, and with those little tweaks, it's pretty much a perfect standard type controller. I mean, I actually really want to get one for my PC, just to play all my emulated games and stuff like that, and remember trigger buttons.
Cool. Moving on, games. What was your highlights of Microsoft's show? Anything highlights stand out to you?
You need to go for the sort of list of stuff.
So they had Recore, which was the one that was like, it was kind of looked like a, I'm trying to think of the game style. It was with the robots, where they pulled out the orbs from them, and it's like the orb could be put into other robots.
That didn't even.
No, look at that.
Didn't even sort of really register when I watched it, because it was like a. It didn't look like a real time gameplay trailer. So it was hard to get an idea what the actual game's like, and I didn't really get in from that trailer.
Okay. Obviously we know about Halo 5, so I'm not going to go for games that we already know about. Rise of the Tomb Raider, that's like a multi-platform game.
Good, solid.
I think that's possibly exclusive to the Xbox One first, is it not? Coming out there first?
I don't know.
Yeah, that looked quite good.
Yeah. What I thought though was, like, I looked at it and thought, yeah, it looks pretty good, it looks like, sort of, as everyone's probably thought, it's the kind of like the Tomb Raider version of the Uncharted for the Xbox. But this is the thing, man, this is going off on a tangent, but when I seen the Uncharted, I was like, God, they're as good as that looks, they're like a whole generation behind in terms of design, but anyway, I
found with like call me a bit of a bore here, I found when I saw Rise of the Tomb Raider, I was watching it, I thought this looks epic and stuff like that, but I thought to myself at the same time, it was like the most unfortunate, unlucky person on the planet. It's like every single thing seemed to happen. It's like she'd survive one bit, a boulder would come, she'd survive it, and then there'd be an avalanche, she'd survive it, and then the bridge would collapse. It seemed a bit extreme, a bit like over the top.
You're hoping that's only like a couple of minute section, and then there's some calm, and you can wander around and do things at your own pace, and then there'll be another action sequence. That's what you're assuming.
Other ones was the rare 30 games.
I was actually really impressed with that.
Yeah.
As an announcement for just an anniversary pack, a lot of people have been wanting a new game from Rare for a long time now, and that was disappointing that we never got some sort of new Banjo-Kazooie or something, whatever.
Yeah.
But the actual 30-game pack is brilliant in my opinion. I mean, there's full games on there. Some of them last gen games, so they're big games, along with like classics and games
and everything. Yeah.
Aye, it's a really great compilation, and depending on how they wrap it, like if it's a really
It'll be in a case normally.
Aye, that's what I was thinking. If it's got like a really good interface and it's just easy to sort of navigate to each game, and if they've got just a tiny bit of tweaking to maybe make sure there's no sort of clumsiness to the way the game's run, if the graphics maybe need a little bit of filtering, maybe just turn that on, I doubt they will, but it could be really, really good in my opinion. One of the best compilations ever. So.
Yeah. Do you think you'll get that?
Go ahead.
It's finished.
Yeah, I definitely say I would.
Yeah.
We've bought some good games in the past. You'll definitely get it.
No, I won't get it because I don't have an Xbox One, but I think for a lot of Xbox One owners it's a pretty impressive pack, and I imagine a lot of Nintendo fans, even if they'll deny it, are probably like, oh man.
Yeah, definitely. Carrying on with Rare, they announced Sea of Thieves. That was
They did announce
the
it.
pirate kind of game, and it was like, yeah, it was like I watched it and I
That
was,
sums up.
yeah, I was kind of like looking at it, I was like, it looks sort of interesting stuff, but I wasn't blown away by it. But yeah, it's a Rare game, but it's not really got the sort of kind of the original Rare guys there, so I don't know how good it'll be.
But that sums up just what that sort of game meant, because I just said there a minute ago they never had a Rare game and they did.
Yeah, and forget it.
It's like
It wasn't really stand out
it
yet.
didn't look bad in any way. In fact, technically the graphics looked quite good in some ways. Quite a sort of clean art style, because it's not going for that gritty realism. So there's probably a lot of technology behind that that's hidden by the fact that it looks quite slightly cartoony. But it's hard to get a gauge of what the actual game's like.
Yeah.
So I couldn't quite tell, but it looked alright.
So, kind of with the games, there was the Ultimate Edition of Gears of War that's going to be remastered. I wasn't keen on that myself anyway. And Gears of War 4. I thought it just looked generic.
What did you
Not
think?
really interested.
Yeah.
Never been a massive fan of Gears of War. It's always been really drab. It's kind of
Yeah.
it's,
Like
it
visually,
looks like- we discussed before that it's kind of like it's so colourless.
yeah.
It might as well be
Yeah.
black and white. I just don't really find it fun. It was kind of full of gimmicks. It had that chainsaw bayonet and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
And especially when you see Doom and you see
Yeah.
the chainsaw there, and you're like, I'll just stick with Doom instead.
And nah, it's just
Yeah.
doesn't matter for me.
It feels, and a lot of people said that about the demo that they showed at the show, it feels kind of underwhelming, even though they're probably pushing some technical thing now. It's probably
Yeah.
like advanced and whatever, like the big
Is it
storm
on
off to the
4K or
side.
something on PC?
Is it right, Steve? I mean,
Yeah.
but when you get past all that, I mean, it was just a bit the same beefy looking guys walking around the same sort of slightly drab world. Probably
It
a
just
bit
wasn't
less,
exciting, was
a
it?
bit less drab than the first game. It's got a lot of colour in it, but you can't even tell it's all dark and stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
like, there'll be daytime levels.
It was really dark, and what I found as well was the baddies in it reminded me of what you call it, Resident Evil 4.
To me, it didn't even.
With the bits with the faces.
I get it, but to me, they were just generic.
It's a very sort of, without causing offence to anyone, it's a very generic kind of
Yeah.
killing aliens franchise. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
Nothing out of it really stands out or really passes
Yeah.
the test of time.
Especially when you see
thing
what
is,
like, Sony announced for some of
Yeah,
their stuff, which
it's
we'll get to in
it's
a
a
second.
total solid game. So even the original, which I sort of like lamented the sort of look and style of it, just dreary, but it still played well. So they'll be solid. It'll be a very solid game, I'm sure. But they're quite linear and quite like by the numbers.
Cover shoot, cover shoot, cover shoot.
Even though it's all done well, I mean, it introduced that sort of cover shoot mechanic quick. One
Yeah.
of the first games to do it really well. But
Alright, so moving on to PlayStation 4 then, or PlayStation announcements. The following day we got to see that first. One of the big ones was, I think straight off the bat, didn't they show The Last Guardian?
Yeah.
Last Guardian?
Didn't see it.
let's see, the Last Guardian for me at this point now it's
10
been-
years has been in making.
Has it been 10 years?
10 or 8 years?
And the problem is the engine looks like it's about last generation, and
Yeah.
and it suffers from the same sort of like visual and technical aspects that
ICO.
Ico
Yeah.
suffers from.
It's the same team and everything.
Aye, it's kind of got that bland brownness over everything, and it's got a lot of sort of weird, bad fogging into the distance. So it feels like a total, like almost like PS2 generation engine.
It seemed quite nice though, like looking
It's
at
got
it.
really
watching
good.
it.
It's got a really good sort of soul and character.
Yeah,
in it.
yeah. It's like, what I found with the intro, considering it's been so long that people have been waiting to see this, everyone was hyped up for it. When you watched it in the trailer, it was just that little, it was like a tiny little section.
Yeah.
It didn't really show you anything.
Yeah, it just showed you how it,
Yeah.
it basically showed you a puzzle
Yeah,
out
that
of
was
the
it.
game.
It's like,
And so it made me think, well, is that the whole game? Because what's so impressive, why is everyone getting so hyped about it?
Yeah.
And it's because of Ico. Because like, there was something about that game that once you got into it, it was like massive and expansive and really sort of like, not overwhelming, but in a, like sort of just something about
Emotional,
it.
yeah.
It just captured you as like
Yeah.
giants that you were running
I think-
on and stuff like
I
that.
think if they showed a little bit more of it, like maybe it's not, maybe nothing's even been made yet, I don't know. But I just would have liked to have seen maybe more of the world itself and been like, wow, that looks like something I really want to get into, but that's what's they sold on it.
Yeah, and I just think the way the engine looks now, it would detract from me trying to play that game. I'd be like I'm playing an old PS2 game, and I know that's just been like a bit of a graphics.
Yeah, but you still,
No,
we'll get to that when it comes to the Nintendo section because there's a couple of bits with that. But I think graphics themselves, never, like, you should never focus on that sort of stuff in the graphics store, but at the same time, when you know the technology is improved, especially...
Did I use the word snob? That's why.
But when the graphics and stuff, when you're talking like generational leaps from console to console, you still want to see that visual flair.
Yeah.
And when you don't get it, it's like you're thinking, well, why did I wait 10 years for this? I could have just got 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It leaves a bad taste in your mouth, I always think.
And here's the sort of thing with graphics. What I think is really important is not technical stuff. I don't care about pushing polygons or generating like landscapes that go for miles if they're dull and boring, or it's got bump mapping and specular hats and all that stuff. What I care about is something that's visually attractive, because that usually lasts a long time and that can be appealing. If they'd made, for example, the engine for this Last Guardian the same, or the graphics look like the ones that I've seen in Rime. I don't know if you've seen Rime. It's kind of like a toon shaded sort of game, open world type thing with a character running around, a bit like forgot the name.
I see.
No, the one Last Guardian. It's a bit like that. But it's got a stunning visual style that I can imagine looking at that, if that game was played for 10 years, it would still be stunning. And it's just a pity the artists that are making this game, The Last Guardian, didn't pick something like that. It's obvious they were trying to go for sort of tech stuff, and now the tech's dead.
So there was other games. We saw the announcement of Final Fantasy VII, the remake. Want to go into that? It's a couple of years off. Didn't show you anything apart from a CGI trailer.
Yeah.
Everyone's hyped up for a game. So not much to say in that one. We also saw Final Fantasy World of Final Fantasy by Square Enix as well. It's kind of like a sort of chibi style sort of character thing. I'm not going to go into that again. It's like something I think everyone was hyped up about. Moving on to the big games though, the ones that we saw was there was the new release for The Taken King, Bungie.
That's just like a pack for.
It's like Destiny 2 though. It's like I think you've got to buy that as a whole new purchase.
Interesting. I never really
it cost like £100, I don't know, but there was that. But the other one was, let me just see here. We've got Horizon.
Yeah, I was impressed by that. Like,
that blew me away.
Yeah, as soon as I seen that, it's like a tech mixed version of like Monster Hunter or something.
Yeah.
And it could be really good. I've never actually been that much of a fan of Monster Hunter, but I know for the fans that's going to be like one of these games if it kind of is like that with those graphics.
Yeah.
And that sort of engine, and if it's got good interaction and good controls and stuff, it could be great. I mean, I was actually impressed when I saw it because it's one of those games that knew nothing about it. So it could have popped up and it could have been like, oh god, they just sort of an hour game, which is boring and they're just trying to do whatever. But I thought,
I think it definitely grabs people's attention when nothing's been said at all for years, and then, as we'll probably cover it later with Fallout 4, it comes out of the blue, it totally blows you away, and everyone's like, whoa.
As you say, we'll cover it in Fallout 4. I'll come to that, but the fact that it just came out of nowhere, blindsided us, this great engine, like a total different take on sort of stuff, like you said, like Monster Hunter. But it's like a Monster Hunter I'd like to play. It's like I've never been that keen on the
Monster Hunter. Is that like you Fantasy Star maybe?
No. Like it wasn't even like it was like Fantasy. I just think the fact that if you're hunting the monsters like the way they showed in the video, it looks exciting and entertaining, and it's not like a grind constantly. And it's like I've not got stats floating up all over the place and everything.
And that's the thing, you've got to be careful with these presentations, because I often think that they hide a lot of the HUD and stats away, and it'll all pop up there when you're playing the game and ruin the visuals.
What I'd like to see from Horizon is a game where what you saw in the trailer was that's essentially a game you're free to roam the sort of place and you hunt things down and you can build things up. If you want to go deeper into it and build customised weapons by taking parts and everything, that's the choice you've got if you want to get right into it. But just playing it on a sort of basic level, that's where I get sort of kind of put off of games when you get really deep into them, purely because I don't have the time to sit there and spend months building up a character or grinding a character. So if they showed what they showed, and that's what the game's like, then that'd be amazing. But if they start getting too deep into it, I'll probably be put off a little bit. I'll probably hold back in it. But just on a purely announcement level, I thought that was epic.
Yeah, I'd say to me that's the epitome of what E3 should have for every developer. A few
you want
things
that from everyone, the big ones.
You want a release which actually excites you, captures your imagination. You maybe didn't see coming, and when you look at it, you're like, yep, that's it. It's a big game. It's like going to the Oscars and getting a big movie. You're like, that's it. That's E3. It sums it up.
Exactly. That's exactly what E3 is. E3's the biggest show in the world. It's meant to be anyway. Obviously, you've got like the Tokyo Game Show and stuff like that. But E3 has always been the big staple main show.
Yeah.
I mean, the developers come to that, especially the big three. You want them to blow your socks off and blow their wad on that show. And if they come in like Nintendo did, and you just feel a little bit sort of kind of underwhelmed. You walk away, and you walk away and you're like, what was the point? But that's the kind of games that you sit there and you go, I'm glad I watched that show and it was worth it.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not even, it doesn't matter if at the end of the day, in a sense, if that game comes out and it's a crap game. What we're discussing is the E3 show. And as a spectacle, as part of the show, it delivered.
Yeah. So 2 more games for the PlayStation 4. First one was probably their biggest one, Uncharted 4.
Yeah. Again, it's an Uncharted 4 game, so I knew what I was expecting. So in that sense, it's not brand new. But I still thought, wow, the production value. I thought that was probably, technically looking for me, in terms of design and technology behind the design and what's going on in the world, the most impressive game technically in the show. I mean, it looked like a Hollywood movie in my opinion. I don't know if that'll translate into really fun gameplay outside of the playing through the movie-like scenario to get you to point B. But I was like, wow, man. The world, the interaction, the amount of stuff going on, the characters moving around, stuff exploding left, right and centre, driving through like massive vistas where you could go off in different paths and stuff like that. I was like, this is like, wow, this is an interactive movie, but in the good way.
So yeah, Chris, yourself, Uncharted 4.
It's like a modern Indiana Jones, isn't it? It's ridiculous.
Chris Pratt.
Over the top. It's good.
It looks like him a bit.
This is good, isn't it?
Yeah.
It would make a good film.
Yeah.
Like Kirk says, it's a big interactive fun movie, selling plots and stuff. You know, it's what people want. Though. People
so the plots we talk about is video games.
People want entertainment, and that's what they're paying for at the end of the day, and that's what it delivers. Good fun, entertainment. Like a Hollywood movie, like it says, but not so many Michael Bay explosions.
Yeah.
I saw it and I've seen obviously Uncharted 1, 2 and 3. I've never really played them that much. I've watched other people playing them just purely because I've not got a PlayStation here. And when they brought that up and everything, I thought it looks quite cool. And when it froze at the very start, which was quite funny. But when it reset and they went back into it, there's a funny story online. I think Kotaku's got it or whatever. But what's he got? Kotaku. But when they actually got into the game and just the amount of detail that was going on there, to me that was almost kind of like a modern day Shenmue sort of kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like full on sort of kind of like crowds, interaction, people talking, going about their daily lives, and I think that's the thing. Even though that's nothing to do with the game, it's nothing to do with the actual plot itself. Just having that there, and when he gets in the jeep and he's going down the land, he's going through all the bits between the buildings. And there's goats in that moving out the way and stuff, and you're like, wow, man, the amount of detail, and it was rock solid. It looked like the frame rate was rock solid. I never seen any sort of clipping, nothing like that. It just looked phenomenal. And you're like, wow, that's a company that knows what it's doing with the hardware. I mean, when you see that, and like with things like Horizon, they were like standout moments to me. That was like, wow, they've actually that game along with Horizon and the next game I'll talk about in a second. That almost convinced me, and it probably has convinced me at some point down the line to get a PlayStation 4 in the studio, just because I was like, I really want to start playing these games now, and it's like, I'm missing out on some epic games. I know there's been stuff in the PlayStation 3, but I think just the technical capabilities and what they're pushing now, it looks phenomenal. It's like,
I hope your comment about bringing up Shenmue, I would love it, and it's probably not got this, but if that game had the little bit of what Shenmue's got, where you can just wander around the world at your own pace and do your own thing. But I think that Uncharted's going to pull you through it. Yeah. So you're not going to get the experience, the sort of chance to just sit and wander in the world and discover stuff. You'll constantly be trying to move through the narrative. But other than that,
yeah, it's a bit more actiony than Shenmue was.
A bit more guided as well.
So yeah, moving on, talking about Shenmue. Oh my goodness! For me, I said in the last video, there was like a couple of games that I wanted to see, my dream games, and it's been 14 years for Shenmue 3, and it got announced. And it was kind of surprising to see a Sony one and getting announced by a Kickstarter, but I didn't even care. So I was like, oh my god, it's Shenmue! And the guy in the crowd at the show during the show, when he was like,
like, sorry, I'm conscious, I'm fainting.
That's kind of how I felt. I was sitting there watching, I was like, oh my god, it's Shenmue! I loved it, I was so delighted. So knowing that Yu Suzuki's getting loads of the same sort of kind of team back for that to work in it, and it's already blown through its Kickstarter campaign. I've backed it for £1. Nah, I'm probably going to back it for more down the line, but
Just buy the game when it comes out, or back it for the game.
yeah, well, that's a good do. But I'm waiting to see if they announce it for a physical copy for the PlayStation 4 version, because I kind like a physical version.
Right.
I think the download version, regardless of what I do in here with the studio with the consoles, at least if I get a physical version, if I ever get a console, if I'm using someone else's in the meantime, it's still my game.
Yeah.
I want to have that third version, that Shenmue 3. But yeah, I said they showed us a kind of technical demo, I presume what that was, to try and sell it. Looked a little bit outdated, it's just a technical demo. I think if they get the right funding from Sony, who have been confirmed to be supporting now and funding it, I think it could be phenomenal. And the Kickstarter is a perfect example of how much that sort of kind of means to people. There's people backing it for 10 grand to get a sniff of the jacket and stuff like that.
That should be actually one of the tiers. Smell the jacket.
sniff the sweat stains in the jacket or something. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So nothing much to say about it. It's about 2 years away, or a year and a half. I think they said 2017. So it's like 2 years away. But even then, man, it's like I'm going to be hyped up for that. Checked out the Kickstarter campaign, and they're at about $3.5 million just now, and they've got like sort of stretch goals up to 5 million, I think it is. But he was saying he done a Reddit today. This is Saturday the 20th, I think it is.
So this game, isn't it?
They're doing a Reddit today, and they were asking questions about what he was doing. He was saying he kind of wants to target about $10 million, but I don't know if that's including Sony's money or not. Yeah, I'm just blown away by it. I've actually got Shenmue 2 here, but our Dreamcast has now been fixed for the studio, so I'm going to be going through playthroughs of Shenmue 1 and Shenmue 2. It's probably going to take about years. It's going to take my time, collect all the capsules and stuff, all the scrolls, do some forklift challenges. It's going to be awesome. So anyway, yeah, moving on to...
I'm going to ask you about that anyway.
Oh,
Shenmue's my game, that's
sorry,
it.
Shenmue, like, these guys never really played it, did you?
Nope. No, really, no.
It's probably before your time anyway.
Whoa, come on.
Well, it probably was, because when I played it, I was 19. So
What year was that?
That was
That's
1990.
the 70s.
It was 1999, I think, when the first Shenmue came out. It was when the Dreamcast launched shortly after it. And then the second one came out in 2001 or 2 or whatever anyway. So yeah, moving on to the one Nintendo. I was so hyped up for this, man, so hyped up for it. I'm not going to get really negative about it because it's pointless. For the right time. It's like, I just want to focus on a couple of things. I think people came in with really high expectations. Nintendo, to be fair to them, they did say they were only going to cover games 2015, started 2016, but I still think there was expectations there. When you're not showing stuff like Zelda Wii U, and their pre-show stuff that they did where they had the World Championships, and that was really cool, by the way. Mario Maker, Super Mario Maker, awesome. And those fight final levels on the World Championships.
It was a really good sort of showpiece for the end of the championships in terms of that game getting its time to shine.
I was sitting there, I was like, oh my god, he's missed a game! I was loving it. I thought this game was going to be massive, and I think it basically sold itself at that point.
Yeah.
And I think coming off of that, the World Championships, and then going into the Direct, and starting off with, what's it they started off with again?
Star Fox.
Yeah, Star Fox.
Well, they started off with the Muppets.
Yeah, but
Which were brilliant. I was laughing.
yeah, the puppets were actually really funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like it seemed like they started off like they did last year, really entertaining, some unique stuff, and then Star Fox came out, and I think everyone just went, eh?
Well, if you look at the actual internet, there's probably a large section of people who are really impressed with that.
And yeah, that's the Nintendo World Store. Yeah, they were chuffed.
But I think at the same time, there's a lot of people like me who weren't. So it's one of those games, but that's the flaw in my opinion. If you've got basically what's Nintendo's biggest game of that show, and there's like
divisive stuff.
Let's say there's 50%, 50 either way, walking away being like, that was great, or well, that's good. It's good that we got. I was looking forward to Star Fox, and the other 50% are being like, it's just like an N64 game or something.
One of the things I'll touch upon is I've been watching all the sort of kind of videos of it, people playing it and testing it and stuff. And to be fair, it does sound that people are enjoying it. It does seem like the gyro controls are working quite well when you get into them. However, that's not really Nintendo's way to make a game where it's really difficult learning curve.
Yeah, I think that's design flaw 101.
Yeah. The fact that Platinum Games working on it gives you a little bit of hope, thinking, well, graphically, visually, like, see.
By the way, the game's only got a few months before it releases.
I know it's got like 5 months or whatever, but
3 months or something.
Well, is it not December?
I don't know, but it's not long.
Yeah, but at the end of this year. But Platinum Games working on it. Maybe they're working on improving the visual quality of it. There was a couple of bits in it where the sand levels, where it's got the tank, that sort of baddie that had come out of the sand, that looked quite good. That looked kind of platinum-ish.
It's weird because that scene, for example, looked like a different game to some of the other scenes. It's like the graphics are up and down. It's like sometimes it looks quite good in and of its own right. That could be a cool game. And then other scenes that look garbage. But that's just the visuals, of course.
I think what like the problem is like they said with the game is, and I would rather, me personally, especially being a Wii U owner, and being quite a fan of it, they said that the graphics might not be as good visually from what you're seeing because they're having to duplicate it on the screen. If that's the case, I would rather just didn't even bother with duplicating it. Yeah. Regardless of how good the gyro controls are, I don't think people were bothered about that. Yeah. I think they just wanted a cool Star Fox game. Yeah. And I would rather they put something like a map or some sort of kind of stuff there, details, like Skippy and that coming up and stuff. I'd rather they had that.
Yeah, that would have been that would have been quite cool. Rather than having like GUI stuff or HUD stuff, graphic stuff appearing on the screen.
Have it really clean.
Have it on the pad, because that's like if you're thinking about a real spaceship.
That's what you see.
You have like a screen. You're like, look, there's my information screen, and it's coming up, rather than in a sense your view through the window of the craft. I mean, I guess you would get projected stuff on screens and that sort of
you can still have a couple of things on the screen. But I think if you're going to sacrifice the quality by 50% potentially, or whatever, if you're doing that, then you do it, because it clearly bugged people, and it clearly is bugging people, and that's the first impression.
Yeah, and the thing is, to me, it's not even so much the graphics are they aren't that impressive. It's beyond the technology. To me, it's the design. It's like something about the way the levels, like when you get to the Cornelia sort of base and it goes into all range mode and stuff like that, it just looks like generic nothingness. All the buildings, I'm like, these aren't buildings. There's nothing. The people that you're
they're just polygons.
The people you're meant to be playing as, who are flying around these buildings, wouldn't they go into those buildings because they didn't have doors or windows that look like actual buildings. They look like a generic polygon shape with a texture map put over them to look like some thing. And I'm like, we're in 2015. It's like on the Super Nintendo, when you had like a flat polygon, your mind saw a world, and it was a beautiful world, and even in its simplicity, it was artistically something to look at and enjoy, and it was technically, it blew you away. And now I'm looking at it and thinking, even though we know it's technically way more advanced, it looks like an N64 game in terms of mentality. It's like, what is this generic block that's supposed to be a building?
And the trees and stuff like that.
The trees, and when they explode, they just shatter. It's like, why would the tree do that? It might crack a bit and fall over.
It's just like it's almost like,
it's by the numbers crap.
It seems like a tech demo.
Yeah.
But not even a tech demo.
And that's the thing. It technically is, in my opinion. It's like Miyamoto and his team were messing around on the Wii and then submitted trying some experiments, and they said, you know what? The fans are moaning about we need this game, as they showed in last year's E3. Why don't we just slap the name on this, finish this thing off we were trying, and call it Star Fox? And I'll get to that in a minute, but that sums up the entire Nintendo conference thing. But anyway, back to the one sort of last point about the Star Fox for me. It's this sticking on this gyroscope stuff. And someone else said, I don't know who, I apologise for stealing their comment, but they were basically said, it's like they added in something that created a problem that didn't exist in the previous versions. So how is that a good thing?
As I was saying, they're trying to just take a step back, but didn't need gyro controls. If it works and it makes sense, great. And it doesn't. If it sacrifices everything else.
And it doesn't make sense, in my opinion, at all in the spaceship. If you look at the Star Fox design, the way the game played before, the spaceship would have guns. I mean, I've been like, I don't know what the word is, anal or something, or whatever, obsessive about it, but the guns would fire from the ship, and the ship would fire the direction it's facing, maybe on the tank. So wouldn't that have been a smart idea to keep the sort of general flying stuff exactly as the way we all love Star Fox, and then say with the tank, because the tanks have independent control, put it on there, and then you're like, wow, this is a really intelligent use of the gamepad, at least in this sense, because that's what you would do.
And then imagine looking at all the stuff like Slippy and all that kind of stuff coming through and that, really nice, really design well, and nicer graphics on the main game. You'd be like, I'm quite happy with that, I'm satisfied with that, it's been 10 years or whatever, I'm happy with that. But it just seems underwhelming. Yourself, Chris, what?
It's not the case that I can't deal with bad graphics. Bad graphics are fine.
Well, we know you love Colonial Marines.
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal.
It's not that I love it. But we'll get into that later. It's the fact that I don't mind bad graphics. Bad graphics are okay. It just seems that, even in the case of Colonial Marines as well, if I go that far back, it's laziness. It's absolute laziness. You don't want to see graphics that look like they're from 2007 in a game that's in 2000.
Exactly.
Nintendo just slaps the name on it because that's what fans have asked for, but it doesn't really understand what the fans are asking for, or certainly wouldn't know what I was asking for. I was wanting that Uncharted 4 level Star Fox, which people will say that's unrealistic, but that's what the original Star Fox was. It literally was like Star Wars level excitement and technology, atmosphere. The music was like listening to a Star Wars soundtrack, and now it's just like it feels like a kiddie game.
The rumour and the pre-release sort of announcement thing, or the leak of the amiibos for Kiki Slider and stuff, and you're like, wow, cool. And then it came to
there's got to be a proper Animal Crossing game.
and it came to a bit where they announced this new Animal Crossing game, and the Wii U controller there, and all you saw was Kiki Slider. I think it was Kiki Slider the first one, and you thought, yes, Animal Crossing. And then it cut, and you were like, it took literally about 30 seconds. I was like looking, I was like, what's going on here? What's happening? And it's like, all you saw was this little board game.
It's like you've been in a plane accident, you're in shock.
I had like traumatic stress. I was watching it and there was like these little like, painted game bits or something. I thought, what's happening here? And then there was dice getting thrown. I thought, is this like an extra or something?
It's like a mini game inside the game or something?
And then my brain started clicking. I was like, but wait, it's like they've done it in that sort of isometric sort of kind of 3D view or whatever it is. I thought, that's not like the. I was like, wait, and then I stopped. I was like, is it a board game? I was like, what? And then they were showing all the sliders, like the characters and everything going in, the amiibo, and it was like showing these bits, and I thought, I must be missing something here. And I sat there and waited, and then it finished, and I thought, what? I thought, that's Animal Crossing. They've actually spent all this time, for the last 2.5 years of the Wii U's release, and they can't even make an Animal Crossing. And I was so gutted by it. Lindsay watched it with me when they were announcing it.
Lindsay loved it.
Lindsay was chuffed.
Oh, Lindsay was happy.
Lindsay was chuffed because like, Lindsay
Animal
got
Crossing.
Yeah, because it could look right. And the thing is, from the sounds of it, it's going to be a free game, which I'd rather just didn't even bother. It's a free game, and you've got to buy the amiibos in a package thing where it's like amiibos and a pack of cards or something.
So let's be fair, this is exactly what it is.
They're selling amiibos.
It's just to sell amiibos, quick cash grab, because Nintendo needs some quick games to chuck it out to get some money, and that's what it is. You see it, and what annoys me is there's a little bit of what's the word? To me, it's a little bit of deception going on with Nintendo. People will think I'm being a bit like, oh, fanboy, getting all worked up and stuff like that, but I think it was repeated throughout the show. It's like, oh, you've been asking for a Star Fox. Well, here's like a sort of decent Star Fox, but really is it going to excite you? You want Animal Crossing? Bam! Here's a board game. It's like, you want a new Metroid? Bam! Here's a game that's not even Metroid, but we just stuck the name on it because it's got some guys in it.
That's what?
Yeah, it's like, and even the main version of that Metroid game, it's like, there's not really Metroid characters in it. It's no Metroid. So it's like, it's just repeatedly, it's like, we hear the fans, they've been asking for this, so we'll give them something, but we'll just slap the name on it. It's not really what they ask for.
That's exactly what it was. That's what I felt after the show.
And over
and even thinking about it is, I think people say, yeah, but you expected too much. They said it was going to be like games for 2015 instead of 2016. It doesn't matter. I think in any sort of kind of field, if you say to someone, look, I've got this device, look at it, it's nice, and we're going to be making an announcement, and everyone's hoping for the iPad 6, let's say, and you're like, look at it, look at this, look, and then you come in and say, we're releasing like a new MacBook Pro. What? Why?
No, even that, we're releasing like a new Mac TV, just that's it, it's like, just a Mac TV, who cares, isn't it? Here's a Mac TV.
Yeah, exactly. So I think there was definitely part of that. I think Nintendo's a smart company, they know what they're doing, and I think pushing the amiibos and this kind of stuff, they've got people hyped up, and then they're turning back and saying, but we never told you that. But you led us all to believe that.
It's pure market manipulation, and I don't want to pick out people, but I think a lot of people like Reggie and stuff like that.
Totally.
Remember, Reggie came from places like Coca-Cola and stuff like that. It's Coca-Cola as well, right? Just Coca-Cola, that kind of stuff, like a market man. And I think people like that have started twisting the way you look at the company. It's like, what you need to do is, you need to give people what they just talk about in a way that saves us the amount of effort and time and money, and just get them to shut up and buy the product, without really appealing to what makes them want it in the first place, which is something which just captures their imagination, excites them, and makes them feel good when they walk away from it. It's just like, here's some crap, but you wanted stuff with that label on it, so you should be happy, right? And it's like, no. And the secondary sort of layer to that is that for all the development time and money and people they've put onto those games, they could have made at least 1 or 2 proper games. So they've got crappy Metroid, half crappy Star Fox, crappy Animal Crossing, and it's like, well, you could have made one full-blown Star Fox and that would have had 15 times the impact. And maybe it wouldn't have got your bottom line as quickly getting a quick profit, but you'd had a long-term sort of benefit of that. People being happy and telling people how amazing the game was, and you'd have sold more games overall, you'd have better ratings, and everything would have made more sense in the long run.
I think as well, like, if the fact that they only show these sort of kind of offshoots, say, like franchises that weren't what people were asking for. They know, and everyone else who's into Nintendo's games was looking for proper releases in the franchises. And the fact that they built it all up, hyped it up and everything, and then shortly before they were saying that they're not going to be showing Wii U Zelda or anything like that this year. In your head you're like, they must be showing something really good to fill in that gap. It must be like Star Fox is going to blow us away, Animal Crossing is going to come out, there's going to be like stuff, Metro is going to come out, there's going to be all this kind of stuff. And the stuff they give you was just nonsense, really. And there's probably people who will enjoy these games, they'll probably play them, they'll love them, but I don't think that's what people wanted. And I think just even the sort of kind of outcry from people, you call them fanboys, whatever you want, these are people that are deeply into Nintendo's games, they've got histories on them, they've grown up with them throughout their whole lives and stuff. And when you see a company giving this stuff, you know when they're taking the piss a little bit. So you kind of want it to be like, right, we understand, maybe you are moving on to something like the NX console, maybe you are pushing your resources elsewhere, but be transparent about it a little bit more. Then they say, we've got this stuff and hype it up and show us stuff and tease it and then give you something generic crap. If that's the case, they even waste E3 for it. Shows it in a direct or something separate and say, we've got this game, it's a free game, it's coming to the Wii U for Animal Crossing, it's a board game, we're not going to be working on it this year because we've not got time for it, it might come in the next console, we just want to be clear about it. And people will probably be disappointed, but they'd say, good, at least I'm alright, at least I know that it's coming at some point, there's going to be another game. It's just, But was there anything Nintendo, I don't think you were
I was quite disappointed. Because I was quite excited.
I think the guys were in a...
I
was quite excited about the fact of another Star Fox game, but it almost feels that it's not the Star Fox that you want.
Was there a single game there that, I mean, just in Europe and you liked? I mean, was there one that you buy or anything?
No, and that's the thing, is I've always, well, not a fanboy so to speak, but I've always grown up with Nintendo and
everyone has
but pretty much you have, haven't you? And it didn't feel like they were sort of appealing to anyone at all. It was the kind of mass manufactured games, but stick a well-known label.
Do you know what they were appealing to? The bottom line. That's it. They were appealing to the shareholders. And if that's how you build a company, there'll be a point where you didn't have a company to appeal to the shareholders.
That's very true.
Nintendo should have just came into the C3 low key. To me personally, they should have just left it. But they should have just done a direct afterwards or whatever, or before, and left E3 completely because there had nothing new to show, apart from a couple of games that nobody really cared about. And I think if they were going to come to this, they should have brought E3, they should have brought Zelda Wii U, and they should have had a good, nice section for that, showing where people could get their hands on it. That would have boosted people's confidence and stuff. They should have held off with some of the other games, or being clear straight up what those games were about. The Animal Crossing, it took a day for people to work out. It's a freebie game, it's coming with amiibos, and it's coming this year and all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't very clear. But it's just like, well, why am I watching E3? I'm not watching this for that.
And the thing is, a lot of people acknowledge now that Nintendo's E3 isn't really just a presentation, there's the whole show around it. But I think you can use it as an excuse to have this really weak presentation, all this weak rubbish. It's like you kind of say, well, but if you just watch these 15 videos, it'll explain why that isn't as bad as the video made it look. It's like, well, the other shows didn't suffer from that, they just show me these games and I walk away thinking, wow.
Especially when you've seen last year's Nintendo Direct, and that was really good.
But they got the balance, they got all this sort of new sort of stuff on the sidelines, but they also had a solid Direct.
We saw the new Doom 4. Phenomenal, I thought it looked amazing.
Yeah, I actually thought it was really good. I mean, there's been a couple of people criticising the fact that it looks just like an old Doom game, but I'm like, that's kind of what you want in my opinion.
Badass though.
Yeah, I mean, I've actually went online, people won't know who I am, but I went onto my YouTube account and made a list of the things that I think it needed just to be the sort of spot on Doom game in my opinion, but generally it was a really solid effort. There's a few little tweaks here and there that I think could just bring it to the sort of the Doom that we have in our heads, or I have in my head certainly. But you can't complain too much because it was technically looked impressive, it looked visceral and fun.
For yourself?
Looks great, that's amazing. Bloody exactly what you want. Kind of had echoes of the new Wolfenstein in it, same sort of similar thing, which is brilliant, so I was very happy with that.
It looked like it had a bit more of the freedom in the levels though, which is good because that's what you want to do.
He was badass at it, he was like just hardcore. He's got his grabbing, he's punching their feet. It's like,
I mean, there's a few things that I would say, and since I'm on camera and someone might see this, it's worth saying. It's like certain little things, like for example, all the GUI stuff, where you get little pop-ups, like icons and stuff like that. I hope they can let you turn it off.
Aye, because that looked to be a bit sort of
I mean, it's a weird way to say it, but it looked like a computer game. And the thing is, people didn't understand this. If you go back and look at the original Doom, all the HUD stuff, all the sort of stuff was on the bottom line, and above that was literally a window into the world. And that's why it doesn't detract from it. It doesn't say, here's something which destroys your suspension of disbelief.
Yeah, you're totally right, because when I was watching the trailer when they announced it, and when you kill the guy, and now he goes like,
Yeah.
I thought, what's that about? That's cool. They looked cool icons, but it seemed weird that they were popping and landing on the ground.
It was basically what's happening is people have seen what's popular about stuff like Borderlands and thought, we'll shove some of that in our game because that's what must make it popular, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, nah. Go back. This is the whole point. People will say once again, oh, but it's just Doom again. But it's like, this is the whole point. It's not even quite as good as the original Doom in some ways. It's better in many ways, but some of it misses some things. You need to. These people who made the game need to really go back and reanalyze their own game in minute detail and be like, for example, like, I know you like the gore, but one of the things that I noticed, right, was like every single enemy from any kind of shot basically was exploding. And I was like, if you actually go back and watch the original Doom, you get the splat of the blood when they get shot, but they collapse. Most of them just collapse. If you rocket them, they explode.
Right.
If you trap them in a door, they go and splat. And I was like, it's this game thing again. You want to make sure that the sense you're getting from killing someone is a satisfaction of knocking a bad over with the impact of the bullet, not just like a silly game mechanic of going.
Yeah.
And so, even though it's actually cool, I think we could manage it in a tiny bit more sort of like
a bit more diversity.
Intelligent way. I have like when you get hit by a shotgun, you get knocked back and you lie on the floor and blood pours out, and like that looks satisfying. But if I'm right up to your face, I'll take off half of your face. But you won't always drop an arm off because I've shot you with 5 bullets. Like it doesn't make any sense. We're not made to like blobs.
So yeah, one of the other games was at the show. It was a big one. I thought was really impressive. Was Star Wars Battlefront. I thought it was phenomenal. I thought it looked amazing. I think we were talking about earlier about in Star Fox when you're shooting enemies in just this kind of barren landscape. You wanted that epic feel, and I felt like Star Wars Battlefront, it gave that with it. Every shot you done with the blasters, there was sparks flying off, the particle effects and smoke, and it just felt really, really sort of kind of visceral.
Really cinematic.
Yeah.
For a game that's an FPS game, it felt like playing in a cinematic universe.
Yeah.
And I imagine if you got the Star Fox like that would be what people want. Like the flying sections you imagine are going to be like in this game, even though they're just in this sort of atmosphere. The flying around in the X-Wings or whatever it is you're flying is going to be spectacular in that game. It must be. At least from a impressiveness point of view, an epicness point of view. And I think if they captured that in Star Fox, wow, because that's an impressive looking game.
What do you think of
I think that it's kind of almost, it appeals to all the Star Wars fantasies you had as a kid for your Star Wars action figures, and that's great. But I think that at the same time, it's too big to fail. It looks amazing, don't get me wrong.
It's too big to fail, what do you mean?
It's too big to fail. It's a Star Wars game.
No matter what they make, it's going to be.
There's so much pressure upon them to make a Star Wars game like this, with the Battle of Hoth and the Battle of Endor and stuff like that they can't really afford to mess it up, kind of thing.
But the good thing is they haven't. I mean, from what I can see,
I mean, we've seen what we've seen, and it looks great. I can't possibly imagine playing it's going to be anything like that.
Yeah.
Well, no, I think that I've watched actual gameplay. I watched them playing levels and
it was gameplay footage, but I think that playing it yourself may be a completely different experience.
Yeah, I wonder because it looks like Counter-Strike or something, but Star Wars, and I wonder if
it looks like Battlefield.
That's
probably exactly what.
And I wonder if it actually is just as fun and simple as that, because obviously a lot of people expect it to go off on some weird tangent, but it has something to it. It's not necessary. If it's just a straight up shooting action game, but in the Star Wars universe, teams versus teams.
It's about capturing points and stuff. It's Battlefield, like the old ones.
Like the old
Battlefield, whatever. It is like the old Battlefronts, Battlefront 2, Star Wars Battlefront. It is a capture the flags, kind of capture the base.
The base isn't progressing.
And yeah, I mean, it looks great and stuff, but I just don't ever remember having that much fun in any of the Battlefields. You know, it looks amazing.
So maybe that's more of a dice thing, obviously. Then, but I don't know. It's a dice to do Battlefront.
Dice, yeah.
That's the engine, is it?
No, it's dice. It's dice.
No, it's dice.
So the one thing,
dice.
The one thing I would say about it is same thing I said with Doom before, which is the whole HUD thing. If you just give me the option to turn off the HUD, because that looks fugly. It looks like stupid little icons stuck in front of the screen. Take that away, and you've got this beautiful world you can just step into, and it's gorgeous. But that's the one thing that put me off. Just that one element.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, I think like Star Wars itself, it's going to be coming out. I think it's the end of the year when the film's getting released, roughly. I think with the hype of that, with the film, people have been waiting for God knows how long.
It's a good game to come out with the film.
And after having Star Wars 1313 cancelled, and there was the Battlefront 3, I think it was.
Battlefront 3 is pretty sure got cancelled.
Yeah, that was cancelled as well. So people have been waiting for this for a long time.
Was the Battlefront 3 the one where they were going to fly from the atmosphere into space and stuff like that?
The Battlefront 2 had space battles, but I don't think there's space battles on the new one.
But basically there's been a couple of cancelled Star Wars games that people were hyped up about. It's been a good while now. The release of the film, I think that's going to be gigantic, so I'm not selling measles well. And yeah, it looks like they've actually put a good bit of effort into it, so
too big to fail.
Yeah,
too big to fail.
Too big to fail. So there's many other games that we've not touched upon, loads of games that No Man's Sky, more Doom 4, Dishonored 2, loads of things like that, but we're not going to cover everything, there's far too much to go on about. One of the things I want to finish up on was, to me, this was a big highlight of the show, and it wasn't even just the game itself, it was Todd Howard's attitude when he was doing his interviews afterwards, and I really appreciated what he said. Fallout 4, when I saw the trailer for it, the trailer that came out a few weeks back, I watched it and I thought the textures on the dog looked crap. I thought, oh my god, this is a game everyone's hyped about it, and I was a total graphics whore when it came to this. I thought, oh, it looks rubbish and that, like I'm not keen on it or whatever. And I was kind of a bit bummed out about it, and everyone was all hyped up about it, and I thought, right, I'll wait and see. And when they showed it in the show, just the amount of stuff they put into that game, I was like, man, I want that game. And I was sitting watching, I was like, they've actually spent years working on this, and they've put so much customization, so much level of detail into it, forgetting the dog's texture, it just looked epic. I thought, man, that's really impressive. Then they announced Fallout Shelter, which was a free download game for the Android and iOS. I thought, that's incredible, it looked phenomenal, apparently it's amazing.
Really fun.
I need to download it, but apparently it's amazing. Then, like I said, during the interviews that I heard him talking about stuff, he touched upon something I mentioned a while back, and I still genuinely believe this is wholeheartedly, and Nintendo does it to a certain degree, although I don't know what happened this year. Loads of these game companies, like The Division's a perfect example, they announced it 3 years ago, I think it was, or 2.5 years ago at E3. I think it was 3 years ago because it was before the Wii released. Aye,
more probably.
And Watch Dogs as well and stuff like that. And they announced them years before the games come out. In fact, like Final Fantasy 7 and Shenmue even, they're all doing it. And by the time you get to the game,
hype's gone.
You're bored. It's like you still want to get it because you know it's going to be a good game, but you've lost that sort of excitement and the sort of drive for it and stuff. And it really bugs me with a lot of game companies. They're like telling you stuff years in advance. Games will get cancelled. Watch Dogs, for instance, the great graphics are not anywhere near as what they were meant to be, unless you tweak it on PC or something. But it just seems like they're so what they give you everything you want to hear.
And that's kind of the flaw of E3, where it's the slight lie. It's like, and at least Nintendo's no problem for that.
Well, exactly. Nintendo doesn't do it normally. This year I feel like it kind of went weird. I don't know what happened. But Nintendo's normally quite good with that kind of stuff. But anyway, Bethesda and Fallout, the way they did it this year, that's like 8 years or 7 years I think people have been waiting for a new Fallout.
Silence, just working on it.
Nobody knew what was happening. No one suspected Fallout 4. There was nothing was said. All the rumours and everything was kind of squashed and not talked about. Then the trailer came out. We're going to be at E3, our first one. Everyone was hyped up. They knew what it was. The trailer came out. Everyone was all like jamming about it. Then they showed the game. It's coming out in 4 months' time or 5 months' time.
That's impressive.
It's coming at Christmas time, December the 4th or something like that.
No,
so
it's November the 10th.
November 10th, alright, sorry, 3 or 4 months away or whatever. But yeah, the game's virtually finished. It looks phenomenal. It's got so much stuff involved with it. You're getting a free mobile game to mess around with. And then what he said was, he actually said this during his interview with one of them. He said he doesn't like the idea when companies announce their games way too early. He said we'd rather hold it back and not say anything until it's ready to show. And I really, really appreciate that because then you're hyped up for it. And it's only a few months away, and I've got a few months to be hyped, and you will be hyped.
Yeah.
So when it comes in, you're like, oh! And then they announced the Pip-Boy. I've ordered that as well for the PlayStation 4. I didn't have a PlayStation 4. I was that hyped for it, I bought it. So I'm going to be sitting here.
He's like the perfect customer for that.
I'm going to sit here with the Pip-Boy in my arm, holding the gravity gun, and I'm going to be doing episodes like that from now on. So prepare for that. But yeah, that was a perfect announcement, perfect sort of kind of...
What did you think of the actual game though?
I think it looks phenomenal.
Right. I think you're going to get onto some of this stuff as well in a second.
I think the game itself looks phenomenal. I think, like he said, he's not going to force people into doing these things. That was like the big sort of focus is, he wants to give them the tools, if they want to do it, they can, but it's not necessary. And I think this is my overlying theme for the whole E3, and I think going forward this is what's happening, and we're seeing it more and more now. And I think it really is the progression of like the game stuff. Again, like with all the companies, they need to get on this bandwagon of customization and options within games, within your consoles or whatever. You've got things like the Microsoft Elite controller, customizable. Yeah, you're paying for it, but it's customizable. You want to change buttons, you want to change stuff or whatever, you can customize it. You want to get a game, you've got mods in it that you can customize, change, you can add, tweak things, you can build things, whatever. It's there as an option. It's not necessary, it's an option. I think the more and more companies do it with the HUD stuff that we're talking about, give you the option. Put these things in there, that's your vision, but make them customizable.
So in a sense, the design is the company's vision, and the product that you get at the end, the gamer can, in a sense, build to their vision
Well,
and enjoy it their way.
look at Source on like the PC and stuff. That's like its biggest sort of kind of thing, isn't it? It's like you've got things like Counter-Strike, Half-Life, Dota, and whatever else. You've got all these games that are done on the Source engine, and that's their version of the game. But you've got the mods, and everyone sits there, messes around with them, customises them and stuff like that, makes whatever one. You've got things like Gary's mod, you've got all these other like mods that have come out that are on Steam and stuff. And that's what it should be like. It should be like, make these games, give us your vision, that's great, phenomenal, but then give us the tools to customise things if we want to tweak things within the game. Like the Conduit. Yeah. So, yeah, what's your...
Oh my god, so
You've
hyped.
gone away!
Cannot wait. I've not been this hyped for a game since Aliens Colonial Marines, which failed miserably.
Oh God.
That was it, but be honest,
Yeah.
Colonial Marines, when you saw the intro for that, it looked phenomenal.
The trailer looked amazing.
Yeah.
The game's nothing like it. It was still enjoyable. The only reason I probably enjoyed it, even with the low-res crappy textures and stuff, was because I'm a ridiculous Aliens fanboy, and I think they were just kind of trying to cash in on fanboyism.
I mean, if you're really honest about it, it's not a terrible game. It's just not as good
It
as you would
feels-
like.
When it came out, I felt like I was playing the game from 7 or 8 years ago,
Yeah.
and that's kind of...
Touch on Chris's fanboyism, we're like, brilliant. We've got a video in the Small Fry YouTube page of Chris, and we filmed it in here, just a test shot with his pulse rifle, so check that out. Give us some comments and stuff.
So anyway, back to Fallout. Wow, it just totally blew me away. I think I shed a tear. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
It was absolutely amazing.
Did it taste salty?
I couldn't really care about the crappy textures of the dog, to be honest. I didn't kind of notice it, but I was like, this is a massive open world game, and they're expanding upon the fact that you can actually change the world real time. You can basically make it a strategy game if you want to. You can build your homesteads and your defences and your turrets. You can customise your weapons. It looks... Wow, I mean, there's not really a word to describe how amazing it looks.
Yeah.
I'm so hyped, and when I found out about the Pip-Boy, oh my god, instantly pre-ordered, and it looks so amazing.
Boy brothers, man.
Words
You
fail.
next, brothers.
If we're talking about a game that's far too big to fail, bigger than Battlefront, personally for me, maybe not for everyone
For the
else.
fan base, there's no chance it will fail.
Yeah.
I can't wait. Even if it's not as graphically impressive as other games, I would be willing to sacrifice that for the gameplay element, because for
He's
me,
tearing up right now.
for me, the games are about gameplay.
Yeah.
They're not always about graphics. Are a nice bonus, and you want it to look current gen. You don't want it to look from 7-8 years ago, like Star Fox or Colonial Marines or anything like that. At all. But you want that gameplay, you want that story. The customization's amazing. Customizing the weapons has gone much further than how it was, for instance, in New Vegas. It just looks great.
No, like, see with the Fallout 4,
Most of the time.
what I found, what I found with Fallout 4 is, there's a lot of games come out and you feel like you're getting nickel and dimed, as Americans would say. You're getting fleeced for it, basically. And you feel like they've kind of rushed the game out. It's been a year since the last Assassin's Creed. I pointed on this one before as well. It's been a year since
Has
the
it been
last
that long, is it?
It's that long. It's like straight away there's another game getting made and it comes out a year later. And it feels like you're just sort of it feels like you're losing the value of what a game's worth. It's
the
like
factory, the mass
Yeah,
production
and
games,
then
like
there's
Call of
glitches
Duty,
and
and they keep going.
glitches that need fixed or patched and stuff like that, and you're like, no, it's not maybe really worth £50. And that's where there's a lot of probably consumer apathy, like, or lack of it towards that sort of kind of stuff, is you're kind of sort of fed up paying £50 for a game and feel like you're not really getting your money's worth. And Fallout 4, for me, that was the exact opposite. It's like, I sat there and I was like, I'd happily spend 50, 60 quid in this game. I thought, Jesus Christ, man, the amount of stuff that the guys put in this game is well worth it. They deserved it. They've earned it.
And see, I'd say something this way. It's funny because when I seen the launch, there was a few people I seen complaining. One of the biggest complaints was constantly the graphics. And I was like, as fans of this franchise, they've given you almost everything you want, and you're complaining about something which, if you look at the scope of what's there, it's really not a complaint you as a fan of the game should make, because you can't expect to have, let's say, Uncharted 4 level graphics in that kind of game with that kind of stuff. Uncharted 4 is like a funnel, and this is like all these things. I'm not even a Fallout fan in the slightest. I wouldn't even enjoy the game. I know it because I didn't enjoy the other games. Just something about it doesn't appeal to me. I didn't care about it, and I actually didn't like the graphics in an artistic sense. But to sit and complain about the tech Like, it's like there's no generating enough polygons, there's no higher texture stuff like that. You're missing the point of what this game's about. If you're a fan of this game, how are you even saying that? I think.
Well, exactly. That's what I'm
It
saying.
doesn't make sense with that game.
Like I saw that trailer and I thought, I was like typical sort of kind of idiot here. I was like, textures in the dog and stuff like that. There's like I wasn't hyped up about it at all. But after watching E3, that all just like I wasn't even bothered about it. I was just like, yeah, it'd be great to have nice textures in the dog and stuff, looking all fancy and everything. But I was just like, the amount of stuff to put in that.
Yeah.
It's irrelevant.
When you look at it, it's like literally a world in front of you where everything you can interact with and change and do things. You're like, God, they can't make everything
They
like a
have to
photo.
sacrifice something.
It can't all look like a photo.
No. The thing about Fallout was it's never been cutting edge graphics. Never.
Yeah.
And
Although people have some people have modded them and look phenomenal.
well, I mean, it's Fallout mods and stuff.
the game's sick.
But it's never been cutting edge graphics, and that's never bothered me in the slightest. The gameplay, the story, the characters, the world that they've created it's always what Fallout's always been about. Personally, for me, don't know if it's been like that for anyone else. But
That will be, that's probably the whole point.
yeah, really the kind of point, isn't it? What really kind of got me going is at the start of the trailer was the pre-war sequence, and that's something that's been building up for so long because you hardly ever really see any of the pre-war stuff. You just see the remnants of the world beforehand. And like I said, I knew Shenmue 2. I think I probably did. It was so amazing. I can't wait for it.
One of the best things I saw was there was a forum post or like stories online of some guy who basically sent 4,000 bottle caps. Nuka caps were they sent them out to Bethesda. Awesome. So I really hope they send them a game and stuff like that.
I think when people put that many dedication to some sort of little cause for something.
And his letter was brilliant.
He deserves something more.
His letter was awesome. So fair play to him, man. It's like great idea. So anyway, that's wrapping up on that. Fallout was my game of the show, I'd say, without doubt. And I think after that, Uncharted 4 looked phenomenal. Like, there's a bunch of games that I'm looking forward to. And it's probably pushing me more towards the PlayStation 4 side. Although I was quite happy with Microsoft when they've done their backwards compatibility. I think it was a massive step for them. I still think PlayStation just seems to be bringing in the stuff that I want to play. It's got more of that stuff. And Shenmue 3 being in it, I've got to go that way, so it's like...
Yeah, I thought you'd have to go that way,
Yourself, what was your game of show?
I didn't actually, it's weird, I didn't have a game of show, I didn't have something that sort of made me think...
If you were going to buy a console and you had the choice of... I know it wouldn't be the
same thing. It wouldn't be the Wii U. And what's funny is, even now, I'm still a bigger Nintendo fanboy, even as much as I get angry at them constantly, than any other platforms. But Nintendo just cannot sell me their device because they just cannot.
Splatoon, you love Splatoon.
I enjoyed it and I respect it as a game, but it's like even then it's like nothing Nintendo can do at this point. They just can't. They can't. What's the word? Capture that magic again. Maybe I would like it. But anyway, even saying that, it's like the two other consoles. I still couldn't really pick between them. It's like I'm sort of. I can't afford either, but if I could, I still couldn't really pick. They're so similar in certain ways, and I'm like, which one would I go for? But I can tell you this much: they were stronger shows than Nintendo. And
so both of those consoles,
they're looking strong.
You quite like them, yeah.
They're looking strong.
So Chris,
backwards compatibility for me is the exact selling point on the Xbox.
Yeah, you've got the Xbox 360.
Held off on it for so long because I thought I've got an Xbox 360. Most of the games are coming out now. Fallout 4 will be PC for me. I'll probably
see, and there's the genius in these companies. There's people that haven't got the new hardware, and the job of the companies is to try and convince you that the hardware is something you must have now. And I think both Sony and used for the great examples delivered those things that say to someone, well, now I have to get it. What did Nintendo have? And that's what I was disappointed at. Because these companies fulfilled the whole premise of what they're supposed to be at E3 giving you something that blows you away so much. You're like, well, no, I want that machine. And for you, it's Shenmue and a few other things. For you, it's the backwards compatibility and probably a few other things.
The thing about it was, I've not pre-ordered a game in about 10 years, just for the fact that I've been so disappointed, but I instantly pre-ordered the Pip-Boy edition of Fallout just because and I got sucked into the hype train or whatever you want to call it. It's just absolutely amazing.
I was on the hype train for Nintendo, and I got off the wrong stop, and I jumped on the other one, and then I got the Pip-Boy and stuff. Anyway, so yeah, we'll wrap up with that. That's our impressions. Plenty of good stuff this year's E3. Looking forward to next year. Don't know if we're going to see NX or anything like that. Hopefully Nintendo gets back on form. Loads of games to look forward to towards the end of this year. A lot of these games are coming out in the next couple of years, so we'll probably see more about them next year, next E3. Maybe get a bit more hype, which will be quite cool. Just to let you know as well, this is the 10th episode. I wanted to finish up on E3 as a post-E3 thing. The intention was to do 10 episodes of Games Lunch. I've been enjoying it. It's hard work, but I really enjoy it. And the plan is we're going to be pushing on with this after summer. What essentially would be season 2 of Games Lounge. We're putting out a casting call for more presenters, people to work behind the scenes, so hopefully when we come back after the summer, we'll have an even bigger and better show, more people on board and more news for yourselves covering more of the consoles and stuff. We have got our Facebook page, our Twitter page and our Google Plus page and various other social networks. They're all under SmallFryUnify. We've also got our Patreon page if you want to check that out, if you want to help support the show going forward, that'd be fantastic. Apart from that, I'd just like to say goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
Goodbye from me.
And keep gaming, and we'll see you after the summer. Bye.